struggling to gather it up. Oh no, that looks like Kenny Smith.
Oh,
There's been a big crash.
And that's down at turn number 1. The Reds have come out. David Banks is also caught up in the Talon. So Ken Smith has found that wall on the left-hand side.
I can see his head moving, and I saw David was okay as well. I can see Kenny's hopping out of the car now. His belts are undone. That's a good sign. You never want to see an accident, especially in these cars. They aren't quite as safe, obviously, as some of the more modern stuff. So I'm really pleased to see both those drivers hopping out.
And to the great applause once again from this passionate New Zealand crowd. Ken Smith, that's the car that Tom Alexander qualified in when Ken's original car, the red Lola T332, spun a bearing during qualifying. And that's not the way he wanted to kick off his 60th consecutive year of racing. The 75-year-old just surveying what's happened to the car, but that's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that all came about down there. Such a fast part of the track. And again, there's a fairly large spread in speed in these cars. So closing speed's obviously huge.
There is Tom Alexander.
To get tangled up somehow.
So there he is at the back of this group. Did he go for a last-minute dive down the inside? It's turned hard left into it. Man, that's big contact with 2-ton concrete blocks on the left-hand side.
Definitely a failure there of some sort. Kenny was well up the inside, and for whatever reason, the car's just turned hard left.
Oh, my goodness. And Banks would have seen him coming to the mirrors, but a failure with that car right across the front of the 78s. Let's watch the rear of the car. Blue car at the back of the shot, the Lola.
Yeah, it did look like something collapsed in the left rear. Just there.
Rear wing gone, and absolutely no downforce from that point. And into the wall goes Ken Smith. Both drivers have jumped out of the car. Their cars, I should say. And the red flag has come out here on lap number 2.
Yeah, so these cars actually have, they don't have a huge amount of downforce, but a lot over the rear of the car. And obviously that wing, once it collapsed, just completely unloaded the rear of the car. Slow-mo, it's going to really exaggerate the size of the impact here. Just a passenger from that point.
Oh,
look at the head.
Left rear of the car went across the top of the cockpit of David Banks. Number 78 car at the same time. And cameraman down there, Gerald, has captured some magnificent shots this weekend. The spring bouncing down the road. Ken Smith off into the gravel trap here. And that's why the red flag has come out in this second lap. He did make some contact at the start of the race while he was charging through the field. As this race is under red flag, let's go down to pit lane and say good morning to Cameron Van den Dungen.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I've got Tom Alexander, who was driving this car just the other day. Some pretty big scenes. Great to see Ken out of the car, though.
Yeah, very scary. You know, you never like, especially in these cars, to see that. You know, they're not the safest cars around. Yeah, not sure clear what happened, but just like the rear wings come off at very high speed into turn 1, and after then, Kenny's just a passenger. Unfortunately, Codie's been caught up as well, and you never like to see that, especially in these old cars into turn 1 as well.
Yeah, so talk to us through these cars. I mean, you've had a driver of this one before. It's another gentleman's car who owns that one that Ken's driving. What makes them so dangerous from your point of view?
Just there was no safety back in those days. You know that they were built to be light and fast. Aluminium tubs only 30 centimetres high. You know that's the only thing that's sitting in there. It's between 2 fuel tanks. So when you see scenes like that, until you know the drivers are safe, it really scares you.
Well, Ken Smith, though, as well, a very experienced driver. We saw him carving up the field before that moment. This car's a beautiful bit of kit, though, isn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful. You know, it's built by a guy, Barry Miller, that's worked on Kenny's car as well, and it's better than brand new. Incredible car. Kenny was obviously trying to push through. Unfortunately, he had to start from the rear because he didn't qualify. It makes it tricky with the speed difference between the front and the rear in this field. So, but it looks like it's just mechanical failures is what's caused it in the end.
Thanks for having a chat to us, Tom. And as we said before, it's good to see Ken out of the car.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing.
Thank you, Cam. Tom Alexander down in the pits. This race stays on the red flag. It's Codie Banks. We should update on that too. They did a last-minute driver swap in the lead-up to that. It's his dad's car, David Banks. It's one written down the side of the 78, the Talon car, and there it is on the back of the tilt tray. Goes back to our point before, how quick this track is. The wing failure on the back of that Lola, as we look at it one more time. Last car in this shot. See, he's looking to make the pass. Rear wing collapses, takes all the aero from the car and across the top of the Banks entry and into the wall on the left-hand side.
Obviously, a high speed there too. The amount of force down through that rear ring is probably the highest point on the track.
The wall's curved, isn't it? It's not like it's gone straight in head first. It's a curved corner, but it's still going to be a hard hit. This is from the GJ Gardner Holmes turn as the car. All the damage is done by this point. The left front and the left rear was already rolling down into the sand trap at turn number 1. But this is the shot, isn't it? Oh.
That's a huge impact. Just so glad to see both drivers hop out of the cars.
That won't deter him, though. He'll get out, he'll have a think about things, but with 60 years experience, he'll use some words, some choice words about it all, but I'm sure he'll fight back and race again. Not in his usual car, but still a chassis he's really, really fond of, the Lola T332. He's been mentoring Tom Alexander, who's in the Toyota 86 Racing Series as well. A whole list of achievements that go right back to the 50s. He got to race in the the glory days, the golden era, as he liked to call it, of New Zealand motorsport, racing against the late Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon. Have you seen the McLaren movie?
I have, yeah, love it.
Fantastic documentary.
Every Kiwi needs to.
Yes, exactly. He's been helping out some of the big names over here. Successful drivers that have come out of New Zealand. Scott Dixon, former Indy 500 winner as well. The Hartleys, who were great over here. There's Brendan running with the Toro Rosso team in Formula One now.
Kenny's nearly got a connection with every young Kiwi driver at the end of the day. He's such a generous bloke as well. He tries to help out wherever he can.
So the red flag is continuing to wave out the front of our commentary position here at Pukekohe Park Raceway, and there's the remains of the Lola. What would Tom be thinking right now? I mean, he could have been in that car himself. I mean, no one wants to see damaged race cars. You ever cringe that moment going, well, mechanical failure?